In this flow, we'll work through a practical example of initializing and manipulating a string variable in Power Automate. String variables hold text values and are commonly used in a variety of scenarios, from formatting messages to constructing dynamic content and processing text inputs. We will cover the following operations: initialization, concatenation, trimming, replacing, and removing text. For each operation, we will also discuss the best practices and guidelines on when to use these methods. Throughout the flow, we will add compose actions to monitor the state of our string variable after each manipulation. This way, we can debug the changes step by step, ensuring that each transformation behaves as expected. Initializing the flow. First, start by creating a new flow in Power Automate. Navigate to your Power Automate dashboard and click Create. Select Instant Cloud Flow to manually trigger the flow and give it the name String Variable Manipulation Example. Set the trigger to manually trigger a flow so that we can easily test and rerun the flow as we develop it. Initializing a string variable. To initialize a string variable, you'll need to add an action to the flow. Begin by clicking the plus button, choose Add an Action, and search for Initialize Variable. In the configuration panel for this action, name the variable myString. Always use descriptive names for variables to avoid confusion. Set the type to string. Set the initial value to Hello Power Automate. Best practice: naming conventions and initialization. It is crucial to use meaningful names for variables, such as myString in this case, as it makes your flow easier to understand and maintain. Initializing your variables with a base value, whether it's an empty string or a default message, is also a good practice to avoid null reference errors when the variable is used later in the flow. Debugging the initial value. Before performing any manipulations, it's a good idea to debug and verify the initial value of your variable. We can do this by adding a compose action. Add a compose action to your flow, and in the input field, select myString from the dynamic content pane. Name the action Initial String Value. Best practice: debugging. Using compose actions to track the value of variables throughout the flow is an essential debugging tool in Power Automate. Always check intermediate values, especially after initializing variables or performing complex operations. Save your flow and click Test to run it manually. Once the flow finishes, you should see the value Hello Power Automate displayed in the initial string value action. This confirms that the variable has been initialized correctly. Concatenating strings. Next, we will concatenate additional text to our string. Concatenation involves combining multiple strings together. In this case, we'll append "Let's Automate!" to the current string. To perform this action, add a new compose action. In the input field, describe the operation as follows: concatenate "Let's Automate" to the string Hello Power Automate. The expected result is Hello Power Automate. Let's automate. Name this action concatenation operation. Best practice: handling spaces and punctuation. When concatenating strings, it's important to be mindful of spaces and punctuation. For example, if you forget to include a space between "power automate" and "let's automate," logically, the result would be "hello power automate, let's automate," which is not as readable. Always explicitly add spaces or punctuation as needed during concatenation to maintain clarity in your messages or content. Debugging after concatenation. Now, let's verify the result of the concatenation. Add another compose action and select the output of the previous concatenation operation. Name this action debug after concatenation. Save and run the flow again. After the run completes, check the output. It should display "Hello Power Automate. Let's automate," confirming that the concatenation was successful. Trimming spaces from the string. Trimming removes any extra spaces from the beginning or end of a string. This is especially useful when dealing with user input, where unwanted spaces are common. To demonstrate trimming, add a new compose action. In the input field, describe the operation. Trim any extra spaces from the string "Hello Power Automate, let's automate." The expected result will be the same since there are no extra spaces in this case. Name the action trimming operation. Best practice: always trim user input. When processing text entered by users or retrieved from external systems, always trim spaces. Leading or trailing spaces can cause unexpected issues, such as failed comparisons or formatting problems. Implement trimming early in your workflows to avoid such errors later. Debugging after trimming. To confirm the trimming operation, add another compose action. Select the output of the trimming operation and name the action debug after trimming. Save and run the flow again. After execution, check the output. The string should still be "Hello Power Automate. Let's automate," as there were no spaces to trim. Now, replacing text in the string text replacement is a common operation when modifying or formatting strings. In this step, we will replace the word automate with innovate. To perform this, add another compose action. Describe the operation in the input. Replace the word automate with innovate in the string "Hello Power Automate. Let's automate." The result will be "Hello Power Automate. Let's innovate." Name this action replacement operation. Best practice: precision in replacements. When replacing text, ensure that the word or phrase being replaced is correctly identified. For example, if the word is in a different case, automate versus automate, the replacement might fail if not handled properly. Always verify that your replace operation is case-sensitive or case-insensitive, depending on your needs. Debugging after replacement. To verify the replacement, add a compose action to display the updated string. Name this action Debug After Replacement. Save and run the flow. After the flow completes, check the result. It should display, "Hello Power Automate. Let's innovate." Confirming that the replacement worked as expected. Removing a substring from the string. In this step, we'll remove the word innovate from the string, leaving Hello Power Automate. To remove the word, add another compose action. In the input field, describe the operation. Remove the word innovate from the string. Hello Power Automate. Let's innovate. The result will be Hello Power Automate. Name the action removal operation. Best practice. Avoid partial removals. When removing text, ensure that you're targeting the exact substring you want to remove. If your removal target is part of a longer word, removing auto from automation, you could accidentally remove too much text. Always check that your target is unique or sufficiently specific to prevent unintended deletions. Debugging after removal. Finally, add a compose action to display the final string. Name this action Debug After Removal. Save and run the flow. After the flow finishes, check the result. It should display, "Hello Power Automate." Component placement, confirming that the word innovate was successfully removed. In conclusion, in this flow, we've explored a variety of operations for manipulating string variables in Power Automate. We've covered initializing a string variable, concatenating strings, trimming spaces, replacing text, removing text. For each operation, we used compose actions to debug and verify the results, ensuring that our manipulations were correct at each step. String manipulation is a core skill in Power Automate, especially when dealing with dynamic content, user inputs, or text processing. By following best practices, such as using descriptive variable names, handling spaces and case sensitivity appropriately, and debugging frequently, you can create robust and reliable workflows that handle text efficiently and effectively.